Why does your brain suddenly remember everything the moment you try to sleep? The message you forgot to answer, the thing you need to bring tomorrow, the task you did not finish, even a conversation from 3 days ago that apparently needed another meeting at midnight. Tonight, we are going to do something very simple with those thoughts. You will write just 3 short lines in English to help your brain separate what matters, what can wait, and what you do not need to carry into tomorrow. And there's a reason this can feel surprisingly calming. Your mind may not be repeating these thoughts because they are urgent. It may be repeating them because it does not trust that you will remember them later. Here is something strange. During the day, your attention is busy. There are conversations, screens, movement, decisions, noise. Then you get into bed, the room becomes quiet, and suddenly all the unfinished thoughts seem louder. Remember to send that email. Do not forget the appointment. You should really deal with that problem. What if tomorrow goes badly? It can feel as if your brain has opened 20 mental tabs at the same time. And the more you try to close them by saying, "Stop thinking," the more they seem to reopen. But here's the first discovery. A thought becomes harder to release when it has no clear place to go. If your brain believes, "I must remember this," it keeps bringing the thought back. Not necessarily because the task is important, but because the task still feels unfinished. That is why writing something down can change the feeling. The problem may still exist, but your brain no longer has to hold it in the same way. And this is where English becomes useful. Tonight, you are not going to write a diary. You do not need beautiful sentences. You are going to take vague thoughts and turn them into clear English. Because vague thoughts grow. Clear sentences have edges. Think about the difference between this. "I have so much to do tomorrow." And this. "I need to remember to call the dentist." The first sentence is a cloud. The second is a task. And once the task has a name, it becomes easier to put it somewhere. So let us begin with the first line. Write. "One thing I need to remember." Then complete this sentence. "I need to remember to..." Maybe, "I need to remember to answer that message." "I need to remember to bring my documents." "I need to remember to call my mother." Notice how simple the structure is. "I need to remember to" plus a verb. You can also use I should probably check the train time. "I should probably prepare my bag." Now stop for a moment and write one real thing. Not 5. 1. Good. Here is the important part. Once it is written down, you do not need to continue thinking about it tonight. You have moved it from memory into language. But not every thought needs action tomorrow. And this is where many of us make the evening heavier than it needs to be. We treat every thought as urgent. "I should fix this." "I should decide this." "I should respond now." "I should know what I'm doing." Sometimes the most useful sentence is not, "I need to do this." It is, "This can wait." So write the second line. "One thing that can wait," and underneath it, "This can wait until tomorrow." Maybe there is an email you could answer tonight, but you do not need to. Maybe you started thinking about your weekend plans. Maybe you suddenly remembered that you want to reorganize your entire life. Bedtime is very good at creating fake urgency. Try saying, "I can leave this for tomorrow." Or, "I do not need to decide this tonight." These sentences do something important. They do not say the task is unimportant. They say the task belongs to another time. That is a very different message. Now, write one thing that can wait. And if your brain says, "But what if I forget?" there is a useful English sentence for that too. If I remember something later, I'll write it down. You do not need to keep repeating a thought to prove that it matters. But there is a third kind of mental tab, and this one is harder. It is not really a task. It is something you are trying to solve emotionally. Maybe you are replaying a conversation. Maybe someone said something that bothered you. Maybe you are wondering whether you made the right decision. Maybe your mind is trying to predict what someone thinks about you. These thoughts can feel productive because your brain is working very hard. But working hard is not always the same as moving forward. At midnight, you may be asking questions that do not have useful answers yet. Why did they say that? What if I made the wrong choice? What if this never works? Here is the third line. Write, "One thing I can release tonight." And then try one of these sentences. "I don't need to figure this out tonight." "I can think about this tomorrow." "I have done enough for today." Or simply, "I can let this be unfinished." That last sentence can feel uncomfortable. We like finished things, finished conversations, finished decisions, finished plans. But adulthood contains many unfinished things, and sometimes peace does not come from finishing them. It comes from deciding when you will stop carrying them for the day. Now choose one thought you have been carrying tonight and write one sentence. You do not need to solve it. Just give yourself permission to stop working on it for a few hours. So now you have 3 lines. One thing I need to remember. One thing that can wait. One thing I can release tonight. Notice what happened. A few minutes ago, all of these thoughts may have been mixed together. A reminder felt like a worry. A worry felt like an emergency. An unfinished decision felt like something you had to solve immediately. Writing separated them. Remember, wait, release. 3 different categories, 3 different responses. And this is also useful English practice because you are learning language you can actually use in real life. I need to remember to. I should probably. I can leave this for tomorrow. This can wait. I don't need to figure it out tonight. These are not only vocabulary patterns, they are ways of organizing thought. And there is one more thing you may notice if you do this regularly. The same thoughts may return night after night. That is useful information too. If you write "answer that message" for 4 evenings, maybe the problem is no longer memory. Maybe you are avoiding the message. If you keep writing, "I don't need to solve my career tonight," perhaps there is a bigger question that deserves attention during the day. Your night notes can quietly show you which thoughts are temporary and which ones are asking for a real decision. But that decision does not need to happen now. Tonight, your job is smaller. Close the tabs you can close. Save the ones you need tomorrow. And let the rest remain unfinished. Before we finish, read your 3 lines one more time. One thing I need to remember. One thing that can wait. One thing I can release tonight. And now, add one final sentence underneath them. I don't need to carry tomorrow into tonight. Read it again slowly. I don't need to carry tomorrow into tonight. Tomorrow will still arrive. The message will still be there. The task will still exist. The decision can still be made. Writing something down does not mean you have solved it. It simply means your brain does not have to solve it now. So, if another thought appears after this episode, you already know what to do. Ask yourself, do I need to remember this? Can it wait? Or can I release it for tonight? Write one sentence. Then, come back to the room, to the quiet, to the pillow, to the fact that today is already finished. Your mind does not need to become completely empty before you sleep. It only needs to believe that the important things have somewhere safe to wait. And tonight, they do.